Hello, everyone. I would like to start out by welcoming all of my listeners and thanking you for listening to Coach Rodo's Winning Regardless podcast. Today, we're going to talk about teaching how to win. Um, I don't know how to tell everyone else how to teach how to win, nor can I give you the formula, but I can only tell you the things that I've done to be successful and to win regardless. Um, what winning means to me is, success, just like it does to everyone else. However, when we think of winning and we think of success, we think of it in an abundance. Well, the way that I think of winning and success is situations. It's if you're in a what are your chances of coming out of a situation with a win versus a loss? Because to me, even 55-45 is a win to me because you're above the 50% mark. So I don't know what people consider to be winning, but to me, winning can be any situation, again, that you came out on top of. That's what it means to me. And winning is always about overcoming. It's always about overcoming any obstacle, opponent, any situation, I mean, any kind of craziness that you might run into in life, if you come out on top, you win, and then coming out on top depends on how you define it. Again, I can't tell you what the meaning of coming out on top is to you, but I can to me. If I have a kid who constantly makes mistakes during drills, I always tell them, if you're not making a mistake, then you're not trying. You can always go through the motions and do it perfectly. But I always love those kids who make a mistake and they get down on themselves because, again, that's a chance for me to teach them, how to look at it as you're actually winning by the mistakes that you're making because you're trying. Nobody wins without trying. You have to make a lot of mistakes in order to get there, in order to win. Winning is about the outcome some of the time, not all of the time, because it depends on what outcome you're looking for. If you're looking for, again, if you're looking for improvement on your dribbling, well, winning might be I was able to, if I'm a right-handed ball player, I was able to dribble 100 times with my left hand without messing up. That's overcoming an obstacle to win in that situation because you weren't as strong with your left hand as you are with your right because naturally you're a right-handed person. Well, you overcome that situation by continually practicing, continually making mistakes to the point where you get to that 100 dribbles. You didn't make a mistake during that. That's because you learned and you triumphed and you overcame the situation that was in front of you that you saw was holding you back in your progression as a basketball player. Football is the same if you're dropping passes. You get out there in front of that jug machine and, you catch them slow first, and then all of a sudden you're starting to catch them fast. Now all of a sudden you catch your busted lift, but it was at a faster speed and you dropped it. Well, guess what? You keep it at that speed, you catch it. Now I'm not busting my lifts. You overcome another obstacle. So overcoming obstacles to win can be any kind of situation that you find yourself in that might plague you at that moment in time, because again, it is a moment in time. Um, how to define success beyond the scoreboard and the stats, because that's what everyone looks at. That's how today we define success is by, did we win on the scoreboard, or what my stat sheet looking like. And that could be in work. Did I produce high numbers as a salesperson? Let me see my stat sheet. What do I look like? Where did you have an opportunity to help someone else achieve? Because after all, you are a team. When everybody else achieves, so do you. So what do you do to help that person achieve to get, perhaps to the status that you are? So when you're looking at winning, if you win and you help someone else win, to me, that also comes along with winning. That's outside of the stat sheet. That's outside of the scoreboard. And the simple fact is, there's more to life than that stat sheet and that scoreboard. Um, it's about a collection, a collective of thoughts. It's a collective of practices. It's a collective of winning together. It's a collective of belief. You want people to overcome situations, overcome things that were stacked against them. You always want to be. Everybody wants to be that outlier, and that you have to look within yourself and understand that a lot of people are going to judge you based on stats and numbers, but no one's going to see the inside and the intricacy that it takes for you to get to where you are, as far as going beyond what we call the stat sheet and the scoreboard, because there are stats and scores that there's that no one even takes into account. So no one will ever understand fully how you may have overcome your obstacle, because they can't see it any further than the scoreboard and the stats. And we have to teach in life that it's about more than just what's on that scoreboard. It's about what more than what's on that stat sheet. It's about what did I do in between there to get to that scoreboard? What did I do in between there to get to that stat sheet? What type of work did I put in that got me there to where I could overcome the deficiencies that showed in my stat sheet and showed in my scoreboard? The process of teaching others how to win. Again, like I just said, I can only tell you my process, and I can't tell you what your process is going to be. I can't tell you how to go about your process, but I could tell you what I did and what seemed to be successful, which, what I still seem to live, what I still live with to this day, live through, love running into my old players, running into another one today, who just tell me the influence that I had on their lives, in which I've never dreamed of having that type of an impact, but it feels kind of good to have that. And the one thing that he always told me was, I always kept, as the young kids say, I always kept it 100 with him. I always told him when he was messing up. I always told him, I don't really care about how your mama and your dad and your step parents are going to have to perceive this. Luckily enough, he was one of the kids whose moms and dad totally trusted me and trusted the process of what I was doing, because it wasn't about making a basketball player. It was about making a basketball player, making a teammate, making a good person, you know, um, teaching them how to overcome any obstacle at a young age, so that when they get older and become grown-ups, obstacles don't seem so bad, because they've conquered them at a young age. And again, this is one of the kids that I coached, and it was so good to see him. Graduated from Indiana University. He's down in Florida working, and he just told me some of the things that I taught him to help him become what he is and help him win. you know um some of my core principles is, being be as a coach, I like to be real with them, but at the same time I always ask them the question, can you be real with yourself? I'm going to criticize you right now with this conversation that we're going to have. Are you going to crawl under a rock, go cry to mom and dad, or whatever you do, or are you going to sit back, look at it, look at me, knowing the type of person that I am, knowing that I care about you? And are you really going to take to heart what I say to you? And are you going to think about what I'm telling you? Because what I'm telling you is to make you better. And after all, you did come to me and ask me what it is or what it was that you needed to work on to get better, to put you in a position to play more, or to be more contribution, more of a contribution to the team than perhaps a hindrance. Again, the one of my that's my core principle, is always being honest with the child, because of the simple fact is they are sponges, and usually the things, I'm sorry to say, but as they get older, the things that they learn are the things that they're taught by us grown-ups. So, if I can teach you to be 100 with yourself, you know what you're deficient in. You know what you need to work on. So if I'm telling you, and I tell it to you in a harsh way, be honest with yourself. Is this really what it is? And if so, then you'll think within yourself, yeah, I do need to work on my left hand layups. I do need to work on catching my passes. I'm a terrible defender. I need to work on moving my feet. I mean, your parent might not want to hear it, but if you're a, if you're a athlete who's trying to get in tune with themselves and really trying to become better, or a person in themselves. Sometimes as people, we're not even real with ourselves. We have these expectations, and when they don't pan out, we're looking to blame somebody else. Well, it wasn't my fault. Well, here's why this didn't happen. Whereas sometimes we got to look within ourselves and look, and perhaps we just weren't ready for the opportunity. Perhaps you just weren't schooled enough, or perhaps you're just not being honest enough with yourself to accept the fact that you may have failed. But the problem that we have is accepting that we failed. We feel that we're failures when those two, they aren't the same. You can fail at one thing but succeed at another. And it's like one of my buddies say, if I failed at this one thing, I'm gonna go succeed at another so that I start to feel good about myself. And then I'm gonna go back to what I failed at so that I can make sure that I pass at this. So it's all a mentality. That's that winning regardless mentality that he also shares with me, which is why we're such good friends. How do you help someone develop a winning, mentality or a winning mindset? The way that I always tell them is to believe in yourself, care enough about yourself, and love yourself enough to want to take criticism, to want to be hurt by the criticism, but also to want to improve on that criticism that was given to you. You take that criticism, you make it drive you, you let it drive you, and you let it push you towards the success that you want to have, no matter what it is. You could be a terrible basketball player, you could be a terrible football player, you could be a terrible baseball player. Doesn't matter. If you go put in that practice, you go put in that work, you might be terrible as a player at whole, but you might become a good pitcher but can never swing a bat. You might become a great base stealer, so you get on it because you're super fast, or a great outfielder, but again, can't hit the curveball like so many athletes there are, or you can't make the layup, but you can rebound the mess out the basketball. There's always something that we can do to change our mindset and to become winners when we find something that we're successful in versus always looking at what we fail in. The way that you change your mindset as far as to winning regardless, to me, is don't have a mindset of thinking of the things that I failed at. I failed in so many things, but I rarely remember those things because I've set my sights on succeeding and becoming a success, to where when I see people, and I'm reminded of where I'm at in my life. I'm reminded of my accomplishments. Reminded that I've achieved quite a few of my dreams. My children are happy and taken care of. I really don't think about my failures as much because those are what shaped me to become the winner that I am. And I consider myself to be a winner no matter what anybody else says about me, because I love me some me. So, you can never tell me that I'm not a winner, because I know what I've been through to get to where I am. And that is a lot of you. Don't let someone write your path for you. Don't let someone tell you that you're a failure and make you believe it. One of the greatest sayings is, if somebody tell you a failure, well, you can't make me believe it, because you can't make me believe that I'm a failure. Even though I've failed in so many things in my life, I am still a winner by the end of my story, because of what I've used those failures to get me to the mindset of where now I'm winning, and then handling these losses and these setbacks in life. It's a case of not believing that this is my forever. When I have losses, I still got tomorrow. If I lose today, I still got tomorrow. If I lose this week, I still got next week. If I lose this month, I still got next month. You the thing about wins and losses and setbacks is you have every opportunity every day to change whatever loss, whatever setback, whatever it is that you perceive to be that, you have every opportunity to change it every day. Hell, every second. You can lose. in 1 second and you can win in the next. It's all about a choice that you make. It's all about what you decide to do as a human being, as a person, as a coach, as a mentor, as a student. There's always you alone have the opportunity to change your own destiny. You have the opportunity to change your own failures and setbacks and your wins and or your losses and turn them into nothing but wins and then into greatness. And that's within you. You have to feel like you can do that yourself. Sometimes you won't have help, sometimes you will. But the point of the matter, it always comes back to you. Me and my losses and my setbacks. Again, I don't think about them because although they've shaped me and got me to where I am right now in life, I don't think about them because they were losses and setbacks. The only thing I can think of now is winning because I'm winning so much every day that I wake up because I have a lot of the things that I wanted in life. I have a family, I have a house, I have a job, I have a car, I have businesses, I have lots of friends, I have children, I have a grandson. I mean, things that you want out of life, and everyone is happy as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what they are personally, but I'm just telling you from my perspective. I had a lot of losses and failures, but again, I don't really think of them because all I think about is my winning, because my winning is what made me happy. And that's the only thing that I can really tell you about. You can handle your losses and setbacks. It's a mentality of it's just my forever. And you got to remember, just like we were taught in the Marine Corps, pain is temporary, so is losing and setbacks. It's all temporary unless you make it long term. You know, it can losses can also turn into opportunities. As an athlete, we look at perhaps we played in a basketball, baseball, football game, or we were playing for someone else, and you played so well that maybe one of the elite teams happened to see you play, and even though you lost, you got a victory out of it because they happened to see you play. And well, guess what? They want you to come play for them. That happened a lot to a lot of kids that I coached. I was purged, my teams were purged a lot, but as a coach, that was my job. It wasn't my job to keep them where I had them. Heck, we never practiced. The only thing that we did was, hey, tell your parents we owe $41 for this tournament. I already wrote the check. Give me the money. That's how we went. And so when my kids got purged and got picked up by programs with money, I felt happy. I felt happy for them. Yes, I'm upset because of the situation that it left me in, but I wasn't upset to where I'm mad at the teams that wanted my players. I'm mad at my players for leaving. I'm upset that I coached them so damn good, or that I picked a player and I picked a tournament that was well enough for my kids to be seen in and go and this team was able to purge my players. But again, I was so happy for these players that it instilled in me that this is what you're doing it for. It's not a personal thing. This is a thing to help these kids, be able to move along and get better and have a better opportunity than what you're providing them because, ultimately went on to play. I mean, I had 14 kids and I, from what I understand, all 14 went on to play college athletics. Whether they were going to do it, whether they were with me or not, it's fine. I like to think that they were because they were all great kids. I really thank the parents for allowing me to share my knowledge with these kids and to help them. It was such an honor, and again, it's such an honor to see them all doing well as they're older. They still call me. I mean, I have them. They're all over the country, from California to Florida to Utah to Texas. They'll call me once in a while, or they'll Facebook me, they'll social media me, whatever. But again, it was being keeping it 100 with them on their deficiencies, but also helping them understand that you can win regardless to how you feel or the situation that you're in right now because it's a temporary thing, you know. And I always would tell them that a lot of it is the work that you put in. It's the effort. They'll tell you our chant 1, 2, 3 on effort on three. 1, 2, 3 effort because that is the one thing that no one on this earth can control but you. I would always tell them, hey, if we don't get that loose ball, you can't look at the ref. You can't look at me. You can't look at your teammates. You were the closest one. You chose not to dive on the floor, but that other kid did. That's part of the effort. That's something as a coach I can't bring out of you. That's something that you have to bring out of yourself. And that goes along with life. That goes along with winning in life. Life is about, and winning in life is about the effort that you put in. You're going to get everything in life and in athletics and pretty much everything that you do according to the effort that you put forward. If you don't put forth the effort to be where you want to be in life, then you shouldn't have the expectations of someone who would put in that effort to get there. Life is about effort. Winning is about effort. It's the one thing that's an innate individual concept that's built within you. Whether you're going to put in the effort or we're not. We all put in the effort in something that we love, but what about putting in the effort in something that you hate? That outcome is much more tremendous than something that you love. I hated right-handed layups because I'm left-handed. So I was so weak at it that when I had my youngest son who came up to play sports. My oldest son is super freaking smart. He tried his hand at athletic, but he's just smart and a freaking great salesman mind. The dude knows how to make money hand over fist. That's where his efforts go, making his money and making his dough. And boy, does he put an effort into that. And however, with the youngest, the one thing I said that I was deficient in because lack of effort in that aspect is right-handed layups. I was too busy dunking and doing all of that other stuff. But the one thing that I said was my basketball player is not gonna be one hand dominant. So understand that he was right-handed. I made it an effort that he shot left-handed and that I didn't want no coach to know what hand he was. He would throw the ball off the wall going up for left hand layups, and I would tell him I don't care about the result. I only care about the effort. It's not the result. It's always the effort. Continue to try because eventually you're going to start hitting the backboard with that left hand layup. And then eventually you're going to start making left-handed layup, which is what happened to the point where when he got to school, got to high school and colleges, college coaches said that was his number one recruiting thing was can go either hand with the same amount of strength. So he put his effort, and I put that effort into making sure that his left hand was okay, was good. So when you think about the results of your effort, just think of something that you may have succeeded in at a young age or even as an adult, older adult, and the effort that you may have put into that to get the result that you've gotten out of it. And I'm pretty sure that it's a substantial amount. But what if we put that amount of effort into things that we're not so we're not winning at or we're not so great at? That's how you become a well-rounded person. That's how you become well-rounded as an individual. And that's how, you can separate, yourself from just mediocrity is the amount of effort that you want to put into your daily life, into the things that you hold important. um, you know, long-term wins versus short-term wins is you know, your habits and your mindsets. What type of habits have you developed to get you to your long-term goals? Do you like for me, a goal of mine every day is to make up my bed because I feel when I started out in the Marine Corps learning that every day your rack needs to be made up, that's when I learned that good habits are what lead to good moments. I had to put in that work as far as disciplining myself every day to start my day off with making up my rack. Make up my rack led to other successes. Um, that's you have to find something on a that motivates you into being successful on that day. You have to find things that lead you to a mindset of when I wake up this morning, I'm going to win. And start them off little. Start them off with, you know, I got a meeting today. Maybe it's with a subordinate, perhaps it's with a peer, or perhaps it's with the boss. But I'm going to come out of there with a positive attitude, and I'm going to come out of there with a winning attitude, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the situation is. I'm going to go in there with a, if there's a problem, I'm going to go in there with a solution. If there's some quick, some congratulatory things that need to be done, I'm going to go in there and then I'm going to make sure that they're done. I'm going to make sure that people know are congratulated. I'm going to make sure that, you know, people feel like they're winning along with me because it is contagious. It's a contagious feeling. You can the way that I apply them all. A lot of my lessons to my everyday life is, the way that I interact with my employees. The way I interact with people at the YMCA. I had a guy, a friend of mine today, he says, "Man, every time you come into the Y, you're happy. Why not? Why?" I woke up this morning on the right side of the earth. My kids, my family, people that I know in my inner circle, everyone is healthy. What is there not to smile about today? I'm winning regardless of anything that's going on. The most important things in my life when I woke up this morning are okay. So why am I not smiling? Because I'm winning regardless to the situation. I'm winning regardless to what's going on politically. I'm winning regardless of what's going on with my Dallas Cowboys. Winning regardless, no matter what's going on in today's life. It's about how it affects me. And I woke up this morning like I do pretty much every morning saying, what is going to be my success today? Well, it turned out that just smiling and having somebody say that seeing me smile every day when I walk into the Y is an effect on them. Well, to me, I just won the day. I won regardless because no matter what else happens to me the rest of the day, I can remember that my man Dan Blair, when I walked into the YMCA, he told me how happy I look every time he sees me, in which he sees me almost every day, and that he loves to see me smile. So, in closing, first of all, I would like to thank you all for listening to me talk about teaching how to win. So, again, it's not a formula of how to win, it's Rodney's, Coach Rodo's formula of how he won, how he teaches his young kids who, by all accounts, are winning now to get a winning mentality, a winning mindset, despite obstacles that they may force or that they may run into. You still got to find wins out of every loss. You got to find wins out of every setback because believe me, there is a win behind every loss. There is a win behind every setback. And the reason I know, because I found it. I would like to thank you for listening to me today, and you can find me wherever you listen to your podcast.